One of the most interesting concepts in Steven Universe is fusion. I love how it's not just used for cool action, but for opening up new ways to explore characters and their relationships. Today, I'm going to be giving my personal ranking on the fusions in Steven Universe. A few things before I start. First, this ranking is not a ranking of characters who happen to be fusions. How I feel about them as a character will play a role in where I rank them, but I'm also taking into account things like how their personality and design reflects their components and the themes explored with them. There's also a lot of fusions who don't really fit into the same category as most, and I didn't really know how to put them in the ranking. You know, like the cluster and all those fusion experiments. So they're not on the list, but I thought I'd just mention them anyway so nobody gets mad at me. Anyways, let's begin. Lemon Jade exists. That's about it. Giant Ruby also just exists, except she has an actual effect on the show's events. Now, Topaz is also pretty basic, but at least there is the thing with them wanting to be fused and they have some sort of personality and story, even if it's very simple. This hurts to say, but I have to put Obsidian down here. I love the one scene they appear in, but that's all they have. They don't even really reflect the 5 gems that make them up, but it was still cool to see them, I guess. Rainbow Quartz. She exists. She doesn't speak or really have any known personality, but at least she has a cool design and was the catalyst for a really cute story between Rose and Greg. Something else that hurts is ranking Rhodonite this low, because I really love her, like a lot. But the problem is, while I love her design and personality, we really don't know anything about this Ruby and Pearl except that they were both owned by Amorganite. So I can't really judge how she works as a fusion apart from physical design, since we do know what pearls and rubies typically look like at least. We know even less about Fluorite's components, since we don't even know what they are, but I ranked her higher just for the concept of a 6th fusion gem, making her the biggest fusion in terms of how many gems she is. I have nothing to say about Steg, but yeah, he's cool. Alexandrite and Obsidian are very bland with personality. I don't really see how their components influence them, but at least Alexandrite appeared more and has a much cooler design. Opal gets a lot of points simply for introducing us to the concept of fusion. However, I can't really rank her that highly, since I don't think she does a good job representing Pearl and Amethyst. She feels much too pearly. There isn't really a balance between the two. But Opals are the national gemstone of Australia, so yeah, she's peak. Honestly, kinda surprised how highly I ended up ranking Mega Pearl, considering how I ranked all the other fusions made up of the same type of gem. But 1, her design is much more than just Big Pearl, and 2, there's actually some interesting themes with her. She shows how volleyball learns through Pearl that past traumas don't magically go away, but we can learn to live with them if we are open about it and let others help us. Malachite was pretty good at showing the toxic relationship between Jasper and Lapis. However, she just doesn't appear enough for me to really rank her that highly. She's in 3 episodes and 2 of them barely count as an appearance if we're being honest. But for what she was there for, she did that very well. Suglite was great to introduce early on, showing how fusion isn't always a super positive thing, which sorta sets up Malachite for later on. Obviously they aren't one-to-one comparable. Amethyst and Garnet obviously don't have that toxic relationship Lapis and Jasper have. But that very light version of how fusion can be a bad thing sometimes was still good setup. It kinda sucks that we basically never saw her again after her debut, apart from a single non-speaking cameo. Like, why didn't she at least speak here? What the fuck? Bluebird Azurite is Australian. Not like Opal, who's just named after our national gemstone. She's a straight up voiced by an Aussie.
Well, if it ain't the old gem saviour himself, Steven Universe!
She also debuted a day after my birthday, so that's gotta mean something for me. She's also very funny, and not only shows a new idea with Eyeball and Aquamarine fusing simply out of spite for their shared hatred of Steven, but adds to Steven's arc by showing the consequences of being stuck in the past instead of looking forward. And hey, that's the name of my favorite song in the entire show. It's not just because Lars is in that scene. Oh god, I need to see if I can go an entire Steven Universe video without bringing up how much I fucking love Lars. If you look up the definition of cool in a dictionary, you will see Sunstone. There's honestly no reason I should have them ranked this high. They're just really fucking cool. Their personality reflects Steven, Ruby, and Sapphire perfectly. Their design and future is just peak, and I can always rely on them for safety advice. I feel ashamed to rank something British over Australian. That basically goes against one of the core fundamentals of being Australian, that being shitting on the British. But f it, Rainbow Quartz 2.0 is absolutely fantastic. He's the perfect balance between Steven's whimsical, childlike wonder and Pearl's proper and polite dignity. The only reason I can't rank him way up at number 2 is there's simply a lack of screen time, meaning we don't really get any stories about him. Sardonyx, however, has one of the best stories involving fusion. I go more in depth into this in my season 2 review, so check that out if you want. But that story with her and how these events affected Pearl and Garnet's relationship and the aftermath that follows is really great. One of the best arcs in the whole show in my opinion. She's also just a very fun character with a great design. Stevonnie.
Enough said.
It's no secret that I love Steven and Amethyst's bond, so it should be no surprise I've ranked Smokey so highly here. Their stories, especially their debut, display everything I love about Steven and Amethyst. Out of all the fusions, they are the perfect display of a fusion to me, more so than any other. Smoky Quartz brilliantly embodies Steven and Amethyst's personalities, their relationship, their designs, everything. But they aren't my number 1. Yeah, no shit, who else was it gonna be? You all saw this coming. I don't even need to justify this placement. I was honestly considering leaving Garnet off the list because it would just make it way too predictable. So there's my ranking of the fusions of Steven Universe. My name's Dr. Lamington. Like and subscribe to make me smile, and I will see you later.